So Brant, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to get into lifestyles, and picture's worth 1,000 words. So we got 3,000 words on here, but maybe we won't use quite 3,000. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
So the first picture over there on the left is the United States Merchant Marine Academy. It's where I went to school, and y'all talked about Rich Dad Poor Dad. So Robert Kiyosaki graduated from that school. And I remember when I was like a sophomore or freshman, he came in on a big purple helicopter and got out in a big purple suit, and he had his wife there, and you can imagine it's a regiment of like 1,000 young men pinned up, and his wife is blonde and walks out, and everybody's like screaming at her, and he had to like send her off stage. And one thing that stuck out in my mind was he said, "You would be shocked how many people the most expensive asset they own is their own house." And at the time I was like 19, just riled up, right? And thought, yeah. I had no idea what he meant. It wasn't until I came to Lifestyles, I finally realized what he meant of like, you would be shocked how many people the most expensive thing they own is their house. Whereas I think when you start talking to people in here, you'll realize real quickly, most of us, the house is the least expensive thing we own, and the least valuable asset we own. So it just kind of changes everything, or changes your mental way of thinking. Let's see, after that, so went out of the Merchant Marine Academy, which are people that sail on big ships. I commissioned in the Marine Corps, 2 different things, did time in the Marine Corps, and then 2016 got out.
All right, well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, give me a hand for that.
Yeah. All right, so tell us a little bit about why you joined Lifestyles.
Yeah, so, this is like opening up a little bit embarrassing in front of everybody, right? So, everybody know who's the old Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis? Y'all know who he was? So in 2015 and 16, I'm not exaggerating. If my mom was here, she could show you the email. Me and a team of 19 ran the southern Syrian campaign from Jordan, fighting ISIS. We did such a great job. General Mattis himself sent a personal signed letter to us 19, saying how great we did. I got out of the Marine Corps, I came home, and I could not find a job. I thought, what in the heck? Like,
yeah.
Like how embarrassing, a grown man. I had a house under contract. The house fell out of contract, when I got out of the Marine Corps because I didn't have a job anymore. I didn't understand the whole loan process, how you had to have a job and W-2. They asked me if my dad could sign on the loan. You talk about like a kick in the gut, right? Mm-hmm. Embarrassing. And so everywhere I went to get a job, they'd always, like I'd show up, I'd hand down a resume, and they'd say, "Oh, you're way overqualified." "All right, well, what's the next position up?" I'd say, "Oh, this role." I'd say, "Okay, when's that interview?" I'd go do that interview. They say, "You really don't have experience doing this." And it was like this weird limbo I was in, that I couldn't find a job. And on top of that, going to the Merchant Marine Academy, they swore to me, "You will always have a job sailing ships," right? It's protected by the Jones Act. The government protects it, right? However, right when I got out of the Marine Corps, oil prices fell. Mm-hmm. So they had all my classmates would work on these big offshore rigs because those things float and they drive them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all know that, but way deep. It's dynamic positioning. So they all got fired and they went back into long haul shipping. So they're not going to pick me up, even though I have this license that says I can do it, because they have these super well over-experienced qualified people that are coming off the rigs, sailing these big ships. So legitimately, I couldn't find a job. At that time, I just didn't know what else to do, so I started barreling forward, and I was able to buy 7 houses on my own before Lifestyles. Didn't really know what I was doing. And then I put a 56-unit apartment complex under contract down in Corpus. I really realized I was lost in the sauce. Like they were talking about getting loans. The banker was like making a personal financial sheet. I was just lost. So I just dropped the contract, and my dad goes, "Hey, I hear this group on the radio, Lifestyles. You gotta go check them out." So I showed up to the 2-day, and when you're hunting for houses in San Antonio, you kind of know all the houses coming on the market. and I would never do houses with foundation problems. Dave Fisher pulls up a house I had seen that had a foundation problem. You could tell right away. When you start hunting, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can tell right away. Beautiful house, but it was tilted 13 inches. So, and he runs the numbers on it, and I go up to him. I swear, Dave, how hard is it? Just like that question about contracting. How hard is it to do this foundation? Because I hear it's awful.
So just so you know, remember I told you I find properties live in class?
Yeah, that was
I found a property. He goes, well, I already saw that house.
And so I literally walk out that door, call the broker. I say, hey, the realtor. I say, hey, put it under contract. I'll send it to me. I sat right back there and signed the contract on my phone.
In
and
class?
bought that house in class.
Oh, man.
Right? If y'all don't think that, this is another truth. This is true. So I closed 3 more houses. I get my 10 houses. Now I'm going for apartments. There's a delta between going from houses to apartments, a learning curve, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm not having any luck finding apartments. I'm going to come back to the 2-day, listen to it again. But, I still have 1 foot in the house game in San Antonio. I'm sitting back there. I put a house under contract already. I come in here. They hadn't taken it off NMLS. Dave pulls it up again on the screen and goes, this house and works the numbers. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's a great house. Simultaneously, I went under contract on my first apartment complex. So I called up the broker and I say, hey, because at this point I didn't want to worry about houses because I had this apartment complex coming up. I call him up. I say, hey, I know I told you, I think it was like under contract for $92,000 or something. I said, I did it, I walked it, and my contractor came back, and the best I can offer you is $62,000. That lady cusses me out and hangs up. She called back 2 hours later and goes, he'll only take $64,000. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I closed that one, and I know we don't flip here, but I just wanted to offload that house so I could focus on the apartment. I flipped it real quick, put an extra $40,000 in my pocket, and then went into the apartment. So
Don't do the F word.
No flipping.
Did I drop the F? Oh,
No,
yeah,
flip
flip.
it.
I was about to say, I thought.
All right.
Anyways, so that's my lifestyle story.
That's good, yeah.
How I got here, and that's how the people here help you out.
So we're going to
See,
talk about...
he found 2 deals because of me, and then it was okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess he knows what he's doing now.
So we're going to talk about a property you got down in Kingsville. I know you got a couple down there. And so we're going to talk about, homes at Quail Ridge.
The apartment homes at Quail Ridge.
All right, tell us a little about that.
Okay, so I bought an apartment complex down there, and it's a small market, so it's pretty easy to figure out every property there real quick, right? And then I saw this one come up. I knew what I was getting right next door, and I had a part-time manager, and once you get in apartments, you realize, Dave will tell you, the bigger you go, the easier it is. It's so true. So I needed to bring her on full-time because, obviously I wanted her working for me full-time and not just having to schedule a call with her. And so I walked next door, I looked at it, and I said, and this was cheaper than what I'd bought. I knew I could get better rents, so threw it under contract. We bought it. Now, this was a stabilized property, 100% occupied, but it was the worst property in town. Whenever you see a property that's 100% occupied, you know instantly that somebody is missing something. Yeah. On top of that, when it's the lowest rents in town, unfortunately, where's the person going to go next if you raise rents, right? Mm-hmm. So there's money to be made somewhere. You just got to sniff it out. So Dave Walls back there actually financed it for me, got me a great loan.
You can raise your hand. That
Dave,
guy lent us over $2 billion between San Antonio and Dallas.
He's helped a ton of members, yeah.
Yep. And so he got me a great bank loan with a local bank here, and they even paid for the rehab that we did on it. So all in, let's see. So yeah, the rehab budget was about $160,000. 75% of that was rolled into the loan. Mm-hmm. We only used about $100,000 on the actual rehab. We overestimated it, or I overestimated quite a bit. And it is, when you see these numbers, understand a lot of times these numbers are projections. We are currently refinancing it. We're scheduled to refinance next week, or actually in 2 weeks. So we're in the pipeline. Freddie Mac is just a little bit backed up, so that's why it's not refinanced yet. But so these are actual numbers we're playing with.
Hold on a second. So
Yep.
You're going too fast. Go back.
I'm already there.
Thank you. So look, for new people in the room, right? He raised 400 grand. So if you had 400 grand, you could buy it on your own, but most of you don't have 400,000. So how many partners do you got in this deal?
We only have 6.
Oh, so it's a small partnership.
It's small partnership.
Okay.
But it's, yeah.
What was your lowest partner?
About,
How much?
I think 30,000.
So 30,000. How many people come with 30 grand? So it doesn't matter if you put in 30 grand or 100 grand in this deal. You own a percentage of the deal. You get all the tax benefits of the deal. You all get the same rate of return. Do you understand? So if a deal makes 10%, it'd be 10% on 30 grand or 10% on your 100 grand. Everybody understand? Now, your 11 partners, are they all right here from San Antonio?
Yeah, there's some sitting in the
Oh, they
room.
are?
Yeah.
They're all from here?
There's-
Do you get no foreigners or people out of state? Okay. We get people from India. We get people from Israel. So I bring out.
I thought you meant Californian foreigners.
Well, yeah, well,
that's true,
maybe that's to you, right? But just so you know, every deal's different. I never know the stories of them. But for the people watching online, you could have been somebody from California. You could have been somebody from Hawaii and put money in the deal too. I just wanted to make sure the new people know that. Okay? Now you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. All right. So then just a little bit about the income and whatnot. So $16,000 a month on income, and
Yep.
then about $7,700 on expenses gets you $8,500 on cash flow. That's pretty good.
Yep.
And that 101 is the NOI. So Dave will talk a little bit about that NOI for the folks that don't know in the 2-day. That's kind of how that's how the apartments are evaluated. So they're not. It's not a comp system like it is in single family. There's a little bit different there. And that's really one of the things that makes multifamily such a great investment is the forced appreciation. So you're going to see some really great things on this next slide because of the efforts that Brant put in to really improve that NOI.
Let me simplify it for the Aggies like you. Let's say you're new and you've never been here before.
Kingsville.
He's a half Aggie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what
Stepchild.
Kingsville, he went there.
Stepchild.
So cash on cash return, that's all that matters if you're new. Who'd like to make an 8% return tax free? That's what it comes down to, 8% return.
8%? Okay. So you saw everybody raise their hand on that one. In a minute, you're going to see how many hands.
Well, I
go
know
up.
but they got to see the forced appreciation, which you talk about. But I know a lot of terms coming out of this sounds like Greek to you, but if you come to my seminars the weekend, I will break it down step by step exactly what those numbers mean. But I'm trying to break it down for new people. It's just an 8% return. That's what they know.
And another thing, so this picture here, you see how it says Quail Ridge, welcome to our quiet community. So I'm a little rough on the edges. I'm not a people person. I know very well I need a manager between me and a resident all the time. So
You talk to them like a Marine?
pay rent, right? It gets worse than that. No. So my first manager, she wasn't very well trained, so she's trying to get trained by me, who has no idea what he's doing, to figure this out. So I told her, listen, we put these signs up that say, welcome to our quiet community. Anytime anybody's like out of hand, you just point to the sign and you say, this is a quiet community, please be quiet. And I'll watch her out there do it, and people are like, oh, okay, and go back in their house. Oh, there you go.
That's funny.
Hey, it works.
Yeah, problem solved.
I like that one.
All right. So let's get into some of the changes.
I thought
made-
with
made
quails,
on this
though, you
property.
shoot them with shotguns.
Yeah, that's right. So here's just, the before and after of, and of course, Dave's going to notice queuing right on the red doors, and he'll queue on the color schemes. as
Wow,
soon as
that's
we
a
open
great
it up.
color. Who agrees, man? Looks awesome, doesn't it?
But this is very, just a very simple apartment complex, right?
How many buildings? It's 29 units. How many buildings do you have? They're all single story. So
29 units, so it's, I think there's 8 buildings, but one of them is like a house. And we turned their garage, we cut their garage in half and actually added a laundromat
nice.
to it. So there wasn't a laundry before, we threw the laundry in there.
Yeah,
That's
I think
good
you
on
got a
29
picture of that.
Yeah. And so this is just, first thing we did, walk in there and we paved the driveway. It's a big, high impact.
Yeah, doesn't this look ugly before?
Everybody sees it.
These are all dingy looking, and look how pretty it looks afterwards.
Yeah, bright, clean. Yep.
Yep, clean, functional.
I'm pushing.
You might have to get over this way further, because the
There you go.
computer's all the way over there, not this
Oh,
one.
okay. I got you. Yep. All right.
And then here's just, once again, a close-up of the doors, so Dave can pat himself. And a closed care facility, got that off Dave as well. Because, we call it laundromats or whatever, but you try to speak a little bit nicer about stuff.
Yep.
So all that didn't even exist when we showed up.
So that closed care facility, that wasn't there, and so now you're putting that in. That's a nice amenity for people that are moving in,
and more revenue.
and it's more revenue. Yeah.
Yep. So added revenue. to it.
Win-win.
So this is just very basic. This was the kitchen, and on our rehabs we'd go and throw in the extra dishwasher and a little bit of cabinet space, and then we'd give it a fresh coat of paint. And,
Nothing super high end. This is workforce housing. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Once again, just basic bathroom, right? So
Why didn't you keep the red tile?
a little nostalgia for it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so just we threw in, right? So there's 18-inch vanities there, and we went, pulled them out, and threw in a 30-inch vanity. That shower is actually one of the better showers, and then obviously we just got some tile done on it.
Yep.
Same tub, everything like that, just retiled it. And then you notice how they kind of have a medicine cabinet and mirror just haphazardly thrown in there?
Yeah.
Well, so we pull it off, put the mirror where it actually belongs, put in a little towel rack, right? This is a very simple property.
Yep.
Yeah, simple things like that make a big difference, though.
Yeah, a little care goes a long
Yeah.
ways.
All right, so then I'll go on this one a little bit here. So this is these are actual numbers for year one, and then you bought it in February of 2020, right? Isn't that when
so
COVID
bought this.
started?
Wow, right in COVID. That's
Yeah.
great.
I bought this the month
Yeah.
before COVID.
So that's interesting to think about as well. So all of this activity you've been doing has been during this COVID pandemic. A lot of people are scared about buying things and whatnot, but Brant bought it, and you're about to see some pretty good numbers here. So for year one, cash on cash, just at the bottom there, 8%. Year two, which is really 18 months ago. Yeah, 18 months ago. And you're already in a refi, so these numbers are probably pretty close to what you're actually going to see. You got, about a 9% cash on cash return for the first couple of quarters, if that was projected out. But then you're looking at about a 90% refi. Is that right?
Well, so I don't know how deep y'all want to get. It should be I want to be careful, right? Because I got investors in the room. I don't want to promise too
Gotta be
much right now.
conservative.
We're closing in 2 weeks. Numbers fudge a little bit. We should be getting 100%, but they have a COVID reserve we have to set off to the side right now. Banks are requiring it, or lenders are requiring it. So, once all this shakes out, we're going to hit right around 100% cash out.
That's
But
amazing. Yeah.
if you invested your money, like 18 months later, you get all your money back and still own the property. Is that cool?
Yeah.
There's a technical term for that. What is it, guys? Peanut That's exciting. There you go. Good job, Brett.
And so for all the people that are new, think about this as well. So you got 8% for the first year that you got about 9% for the first couple of quarters, then you get 90% of your cash back. That's 90% of your cash that you can put into something else, another deal like this or another deal, whatever you want to do with it. But you still own your equity in that property. You haven't lost any money. That's not your original money coming out. It's still invested in
You
this
actually
property
have more equity in the property.
because of the value of the property.
Because of the value of the
Yeah.
property.
And think of it, when he gives you that money back, it's through a loan. So how much tax do you pay on it? 0. It's all tax free.
Yeah. Cash out refi.
Cash out refi. It's not a sale. It's a refinance. You pay no taxes on that. And then you can take that extra. If you put in 100 grand, you get 100 grand back. You still have probably 100 grand in equity in there or whatever. You
Yep.
understand that?
It's a great
That can be
project.
life changing.
Yep. So then we would project out what year three is going to be. Our income goes up just a little bit conservatively there. We always have a little bit of bump there on the expenses, and you can see on this next slide, really this last column here is the one to focus on. It's year three projections. So the NOI, which Dave will tell you a little bit more about on the 2-day if you're not familiar with it, but we bumped it up a little bit there from year 2 to year 3, so that year 2 is a real number, and there's just a little bit of increase there for year 3. Property value has gone from when you bought it at 1.1 million to almost 2.1 million. Now,
And just to be clear too, right, we did this before I'd gotten it appraised for the refi.
yeah.
So the appraisal came in higher than what it is in year 3 already. So that says $2,084,000.
So your numbers were conservative for the
Yeah.
new
So
people in the room.
it actually came in at $2,080,000 for this year, right?
Okay.
So
Yep, and you haven't. You got another year to operate, so it's wonderful. So you got $2,050,000 for the property value. The first thing you got to do is pay off the debt. That's 1.4 million, and then you give all of your investors their original money back. So everybody gets their original money back. You've made $468,000, which is your cash-on-cash returns for year 1, 2, and 3, and then that 90% refi that it had. So you got all your money back, plus you got $468,000. It's $716,000 is what you're going to get above your original investment. So that's 180% return in 3 years, and most of that he got it in a year and a half. So I think that's a pretty good story.
Who'd
Especially
be okay with that type of return? One deal like that could change your life.
Yeah. All right, so tell us a little bit about how you did it.
Yeah, so just real quick to show you that it is possible while working. This is, I was still in the reserves. So I was at Fort Hood, and I was supposed to close up. The seller was late on closing. And I told the title company, like, hey, I have reserves, I can't close. And they go, oh, we'll send you a mobile notary. And I was like, oh, so I don't even have to come in? And they're like, yeah. I go, all right, well, meet me at Fort Hood. And she drove up to Fort Hood and we closed. Like, I literally had somebody drive me in a Humvee to a hotel off base, closed, got back in the Humvee and went back and thought, my God, I just bought a $1 million asset. And like, all right, back at it, like it's it's kind of crazy.
Be all that you can be.
Yeah. I don't think that's our motto, but yes.
I know. That's why it's funny.
So how did I achieve this?
That's pretty sharp for a jar.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Are you impressed? Strong support network and surrounding yourself with good people, right? Can't say enough about the honesty and the integrity of the people in this network. There are bad apples that get in, and it's fun when you've been here for a while to see them get pushed out again.
Yeah, we kick out people, just so you know. If they don't
Yeah.
follow our rules, we kick them out. We have integrity here.
And so you will see that the people in here, you can pick up the phone and you get an honest, straight answer. And then even the vendors you work with, they're honest and straight. And if anybody isn't, you hear the stories and you can, okay, I need to stay away from that vendor or whatever it is. And then I wrote in there, follow the roadmap. I can't, as a young guy, I have my brothers and cousins and everything, and it's always like, oh, we're going to build this, we're going to flip that, we're going to do whatever. And, it's just like, you just want to tell them, like, guys, come on. Like, look what we're doing over here. Why aren't you doing it? But they want to go off on their own and do their own thing. And, I always wish them the best of success, but it's you see it never develops, right?
Well, what advice would you give for the new people here the first time? Because remember, you came in, you had a million questions for me at a seminar, and you had some experience, which was great, and I had to calm you down and kind of say, here's the map and here's why it works. What would you give to the new people that have never been to my seminar?
So if you don't mind, can we save that for the next slide?
Sure, go
Because
ahead.
I have an analogy for that.
Okay.
All right. Then I wrote in there, see something that others overlook. So once again, we talked about 100% occupied. So obviously, there's something in there that somebody's missing. A little give a dang goes a long ways. And then another thing I've realized my whole life, right? In high school, I used to ride bulls, and old men would come up to me like, I bet I could ride a bull. It's like, no, you can't, man. You're too like, but I could have in high school. It's like, yeah, but you didn't, right? And then when I was in the military, they'd always go, oh, I could have been in, like that. I appreciate it because they want to be a part of it, but at the same time, it's just like, you could have. And then now that I do this, people come up, contractors at my properties always come up to me, and it's always, these older guys are like, I should have done this when I was younger. It's like, hey man, there's no time like the present. Mm-hmm. Like, quit wishing.
Yeah.
Get after it. And so it just always, once again, I'm probably a little too forward for newbies or whatever, but at some point, you just got to do life.
Yeah, take action.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you do it because you can and get after it. And then unrelenting focus on goals. So I would be lying if I said it was just easy the whole way. There are trials and tribulations, but when you look back at it, it's like, yeah, that was easy. Like, there's things I look in the past that were the biggest hurdle that today I look at and it's like, what? I cared about that? Like, I didn't even think about that stuff. So this is where I want to answer. Did you have something?
Well, I want to bring up one more thing. You had all these trials, tribulations. You went through all this headaches running this property. I'm sure there's things happen, like a guy broke a window. What are we going to deal with? You did all that work. Now, have your investors raise their hands real quick. Are any investors in the room? So there's see the people in their hands up.
Yeah.
They're all investing in his deal, right?
Oh, not his, no.
Oh, not his.
I thought you said investment.
Oh, no, I meant his deal.
We're in his deal.
Okay, you're in his deal, and Sylvia's in his deal.
Like 20% of it.
Oh, you put a lot of money. You must really have faith. Was it because he was a Marine? Never mind. But how much work did they do on these properties? That's what I want to know. The
to be
people that
fair,
invested.
Bob's answered about 3 of my phone calls about this.
Okay.
So I'd say about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Solid.
What about Sylvia? How much work did she do?
Oh, no. Yeah, nobody else has done anything.
Okay. See, I just want the people to understand that. And the reason he reached out to Bob is Bob owns a bunch of apartments himself. He's probably asking for some advice. But as a passive investor, my point is, you just get a check in the mail. Who likes that kind of investing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can be the guy that puts the deals together, or you can be the guy that just invests. You decide what's right for you. I just want the new people know there's different ways of doing this. You don't have to be the guy that puts the deal together. Okay?
Yeah. So this slide here, so that picture will answer what would I tell people that are coming in, right?
Okay.
So that's a whale shark. And a buddy of mine, that fish below me, a buddy of mine had been wanting to see a whale shark in the wild. Like, we talked about a lot. We're in the Philippines. We heard they were there. We've done a lot of diving, right? Been in the water a lot, both civilian and military side. And we couldn't find whale sharks or anything. We just jump in the water. We're literally just paddling around, and these three massive animals come at us. And next thing you know, we're literally swimming with whale sharks. So this is my analogy for being in real estate, right? Like, people look at this property and they say, oh, you got lucky, or something like that, right? They say, oh, did you get lucky getting this? And I say, no, luck is like when opportunity meets preparedness, right? So there's whale sharks out there, but if you never get in the water, you're never going to see one. It's the same with real estate. If you're never in it, you're never going to make money doing it, right? So these deals are constantly coming around, right? They're constantly circling. If you ask today, oh, prices are too much. In February of 2020, I promise you, prices were too much.
Yeah.
But we bought the deal, right? We just barreled forward with it and got it done. So anyways, that's what I would tell new people. If you're not in the water, you're never going to see a whale shark. If you're
New people, I don't want you playing with sharks, okay?
But if you're not in the game, you're never going to invest in a good deal. It's that simple. You got to get in the game. And then how's lifestyles changed my life? The other cool thing about apartments, and I didn't realize this, is it really stops being so much of just a real estate game and a business game. It is incredible how you can look at other businesses now, and you can value them, and you can see where there's holes or opportunities. You can walk into any business anywhere and pull out a T12, a profit and loss, and you can start seeing where there's either opportunity or failures or where they're doing things well. I mean, like, numbers start to stick out to you, and it's wild. And then also, I can see clearly how I'm going to be well off and not have my life revolve around work. So I've been here since 2018. August 1st, I took off for Alaska through August 1st through the 10th to go fishing. In September 15th, I'll leave for 3 weeks to go hunting. Right, my life shuts down in September to go hunting, and all the properties are still running and still working, and I'm still making money.
Yep.
So it's incredible that I know I will not work September to December, and it doesn't even faze my mind, right? Like, when I go on these vacations, it never crosses my mind, does it cost too much? It's plain and simply, is the value worth it with how much I'm paying? If that makes sense, right? I'm not strapping for money to do something. It's just plain and simply that's not really worth that much. I'll go do something else.
Yeah, and you get that time. It's the turnkey business. You don't have the turnkey business.
And for all you Californians watching, when he says he's going to go hunt, he means he's going to take pictures of animals in the wild.
Yeah, like this one.
Whoops. Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, so I'm a big bow hunter. So yeah,
the deer is resting.
That's right.
Sleeping.
Walked right up on him napping. But anyway, so my short-term goal is to go hunting and fishing more, and then I wrote this in here. Probably this makes sense to more apartment type people, but to learn how to manage more at a distance via budget, right? Like, how do I give more control to my managers on site and let them make those decisions without me being involved in it? But how do I put those controls in place and make sure they don't go crazy on it? Long-term goals, I want to have 1,000 units under management, and this doesn't have to be done immediately or anything. I got a long runway. I'm only 34, right? I got another 20, 30 years to do this. And then I really want to I'm in a lot of tertiary markets. I want to start gradually moving into those bigger markets, Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, area. So start coming out of those tertiary markets and focusing much heavier in the primary
That
market.
means the little towns for new people, like Waco or something like that, not big major cities.
Yep.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so obviously my parents and family, they're amazing people. You know, my dad's retired and he's a sounding board. He's invested in a lot of deals. He's been in construction his whole life, but he doesn't know much about apartments, but at least it's somebody to talk to, and he's always there every step of the way. LU staff and mentors. Obviously, like I said, you know, I talk to Rob regularly. My investors, obviously, this wouldn't be possible at all without investors. And a thing about investors is it's incredible how much they help you when there's a vested interest involved, right? So when investors come in, you know you can, like I said, I called Bob 3 or 4 times. When I have questions, he has a vested interest in my success. So I know he's not like giving me the half answer when I'm like, hey man, where do you buy toilets? Right? I know he's giving me the best price he's got because he's got a vested interest in it.
One more step on that for the new people that don't understand the power of lifestyles and the abundance mentality. If this guy owns an Exxon and this guy owns a Sunoco, do you think they share the numbers with each other? But here at Lifestyles, Robert will call me up a property, you know, or I'll call him, but we share everything like he just said. That we will give our numbers, what we pay our guys and everything, and share that. And that's why we get materials and everything so much cheaper than you do on your own. We believe it's a team sport. We want you to do it for yourselves. Don't do it by yourselves. And that's what I want the new people to understand what he's explained to you all, how powerful it is here at Lifestyles.
And it's not just the investors, it's the other people that are doing
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's just like what you said. You can ask any of the other leads that are out there, and they'll be more than happy to tell you, this is the contractor, and here's his phone number. Give him a call. This is what I pay him. And so it is amazing that the openness of the network, which I think is a huge value to this.
Yep. And then obviously, like I said, my staff and employees, I'm not a people person. You know, I shoot very straight. So if I didn't have a manager between me and the residents, I think we'd be in a bad place. But my staff is amazing. I can't speak highly enough of how they just handle stuff all the time, and it's wonderful. Dave Wall's in the back, right? He secured excellent financing.
He's from Georgia. He has a Kiwi accent.
Henry Novak, our attorney. You'll see Henry Novak around here every once in a while. And then John Logan for insurance.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so do we got any questions? Anybody want to ask Brant any questions?
Oh, look, you're all wearing masks. That's nice.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Like the only time I had to wear a mask was closing on a deal in January.
Yep.
So,
It's okay. We're all immune to COVID. Look, no one's wearing masks
That's
today.
we're all day walkers now.
Yeah. Any questions,
Any-
guys?
Anything online?
There's one. Let me get Joey quick.
Oh, Joey.
Come serve you, really? Oh, you will pay for that one.
How'd you find the property?
The very first property I bought down there was through Lifestyles, and then since then, like I said, it's a small town. I'm just always you know what's around. You're always, you know, you gotta keep your ear to the ground. Like I said, you just gotta be in the game, and you start realizing what's happening. And then somebody gives you a break, and you gotta take it and run. So yeah, this property, like I said, it was across the street, and I saw it come up, and you know, I knew this ownership group didn't necessarily care about this property.
It was too small.
It was too small for them, and so lifted it off and
Yeah.
pretty cheap.
Yeah, most of you people think 29 units a lot. To big owners, that's not the economy scale. You can't scale it. It's not worth having it. They just want to dump it. And it was great for him because he had another property there that he could share his management between the two. Okay. You have a question over there? Is that Matt Thomas? That is Matt Thomas. Not that I remember. It's hard to see you in a mask.
I got little ones. I can't bring it home to them.
Oh, well, no, okay.
So you said your out of pocket was $400,000.
Yep.
Okay, so how much of that was your money? Because I know you said you had investors in the deal.
Good question.
Yeah, I think
10%.
10%.
He probably put 40, 50K of his own money in.
I think I went over 10%, but like 50K. Yeah.
We make them have skin in the game. So, and I'll talk more about that in the weekend. Good question. Anybody else?
How about online? We got anybody online that's got some
Any-
questions?
Any questions there? No?
No?
As I answer them all
Explained it
right
too
up.
well.
Well, that's it. We find when we have people
There
in
you
person
go.
ask questions, the people online stopped asking them. When
Awesome.
it was all online, there was a million questions online.
Yep. Well, thanks.
Oh, wait, now, wait,
Oh,
we got a question here. Hold on, this one first. Here you go, Sarah.
I know housing market has been rising, you know. What if it drops? Will you still have that much return?
Great question. Do you want to answer that or should I?
Yeah, sure. So if it drops, as in rental prices go down, honestly, I'm the lowest price in town. I'm 100% full. Anything's possible, but generally when prices fall, like, so people are getting kicked out of houses, so you have more renters coming in. So prices actually, once again, I haven't survived a recession in real estate. I haven't been in long enough, but I've been told that rental rates actually go up
Yeah, the
during a
demand
recession
goes
Yeah.
up. the
because
price
more
goes
people
up.
are renting because they can't afford a house.
So here, we've been doing this for 30 years of lifestyles. We've been through recessions. How long does any recession last? Anybody know? Hayek versus Keynesian economics?
A year, less than a year.
Let's just say it's 18 months, but let's say 2 years. The type of loans we're getting on these are 30-year loans, right? And they typically balloon in 10 years on the apartments. But we can outride anything, even if there's a downturn, and survive. So the thing is about apartments compared to single family is we make our own economy. If we make a beautiful place and the guy's a slumlord next door, it doesn't matter. Our rents are 800, his 600. He can't raise it 700 because it's ugly. Ours is 800. In fact, we'll raise it 900. People will always pay for a nice place to live. So we survived that. We've been through the downturns. The reason that we mitigate our risk so much during downturns is, are we paying full price for properties? We're buying the ugly ones, whether it's the house or whether it's the apartment, we're buying everything below market value by at least 20%. That's the opportunity we're looking for, and that's how we can make it. So instead of 100% return, if you would sell that year in a bad year, you'd make it 80%. I'd still be okay with it. But I would tell him, just hold it 2 more years till you get to 140. That's what we would do. And we have mentors to walk you through that when you're
An
scared.
excellent test bed for that is COVID.
Yeah, COVID was the
hit.
worst economy ever, and they're making 100% during COVID. He
Yeah.
bought it February of last year. That's the worst economy since you've been born.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Amen.
How many?
Hallelujah. Oh, it's not a revival.
I don't know. I get that way. I get excited. I'll calm down. Okay.
But yeah,
We had another question.
Oh yeah, way back there. I'm sorry. I got all my exercise, and I thought I did my 20 steps. Come on. What's No. This guy back here. I don't care about Joey. Joey's just gonna make fun of me. Let's ask a real person. It's new.
So I just recently retired, and I've been asking around, and nobody wants to lend me any money because I don't have any income. But I have cash. So
Great. Invest in apartments.
I was on the same boat.
That's my question. Is my only recourse to be an investor? I can't do these other type of deals that require a loan?
So single family, there is asset-based lenders that would be able to do them on single family. You're going to pay a higher interest rate. While everybody else is paying 3.5, you'll probably pay like 5.2, 5.5. So there is ways of doing that. I'll teach you about that in the seminar. I don't know if you've been to my seminar before, but there's what's called asset-based lending. You can do it on single family. It's just a higher rate. But you could do it if you have money.
Okay.
That help you, Steve?
and you were asking about construction costs earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of a $1.2 million rehab, and all rehab.
He's really in rehab. He's just totally addicted.
Yeah. So we budget the 10%, and all prices went up, but we're still
Within budget.
Yeah, and not only that, like we already have people coming in making money. Like all our numbers are underwritten, at least with me.
Very conservative, right?
Pretty conservative.
Yeah, well, let's say we need $500,000 for rehab. We're going to add 10% more for the what ifs in life. It happens. Yep. Uh-oh, COVID's killer. Oh, sorry. Joey, one
What do you got,
last
Joey?
question. Okay, we'll take Joey. You can be the last question. I hope because you're Army, it'll be actually, cerebral or something like that, not.
Well, actually, it's I maybe got a few. Hope that's okay. But so with the rehab, it's only 100K. What was like the biggest component of that? And then, or maybe it's tough to say. I don't know. But then also, it's in a smaller city, Kingsville. What was the most difficult part about investing there? Was it maybe finding good contractors?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how deep y'all want me to get here in front of everybody new, right? Making the sausage sometimes gets interesting. So the first question is, what was the hardest part? So all the bathrooms, they were having broken sewers, but it was so like all the bathrooms are on the exterior wall.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to spend time. It is literally punch a 5-foot hole, throw up, throw in new PVC and you're done. And so I found a contractor before, and it was $2,000 a unit, 29 units. Do the math.
Yeah,
There you go. I put that in the CapEx.
That's
So that-
58K in case you can't do math, Joey. But
And then that laundry room, I wasn't planning on putting in initially. It took me some probing around to see where sewer lines were
Yep.
to drop a new one in to get the laundry unit put in. So that, it ended up being like $8,000 or $9,000, but obviously I'm making it up just in laundry rent.
because at its cap rate and all that, multiplied times
Yeah.
MI, you should know that by now.
The finding contractors, yes, at times it's a challenge. You have to get creative sometimes. You got to pull people in from other places. But I also find that, so I build relationships with contractors in these small towns very easily, and it's very easy to get them to my property first because they know I pay, right? Whereas
That's who he knows how to talk to, but not residents.
yeah, that's right. Contractors, you can throw the old people's elbow, just get in there, get it done. So,
There you go. Great, awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for giving back and sharing your story with everybody new.